Hello listeners and fellow Game Pass fans, get yourself set and ready for your favourite unofficial Game Pass podcast, Game Pass News. So I'll hand you over to Nick and Sean and get the show started.
Welcome to Game Pass News, recorded live Thursday, August 24th. I'm Nintendo. My co-host Sean Abbott and I are about to fill your brains with all this week's bits and bobs of Xbox, like a whole shit ton of announcements from Gamescom. Ubisoft, did they win the Activision Blizzard acquisition by having the license to stream? We'll chat. And why review a game when you can just look at a start screen? You better sit down, buckle up, because Game Pass News is one crazy ride.
Let's look at the funk.
Yo, speaking of filling our minds, I just want to give a quick shout out to a company called Magimind for backing us as a podcast, but also for making a product that keeps us sharp so we can give you guys our absolute best. How have you been doing?
I have been doing great. I was wondering how that was going to roll, and you did really good. Man, I have been doing fantastic. I mean, listen, people are like, what just happened? That's not part of the show. That's not a thing that happens.
This is something new. We have something new.
Yeah, we're keeping you on your toes, folks. So we've been trying this product called Magic Mind, and I'm not gonna lie, Sean. I was a bit skeptical at first. I was like, well, come on, not really. You're really talking about this, but man, I mean, I tried it. I really liked it. I was like, do you really like it? Because I think I really like it. Do you really like it? And you're like, yeah, man. And so yeah, I don't know. It's been cool.
Yep, it's been great. I mean, for anybody that usually listens to us knows that I like a good strong coffee in the morning, and I'm crashing later on in the afternoon. Or you usually see me sat here drinking like something just to keep me going when it gets late. But like this stuff was great. Tiny little bottles. It's very quick and easy to drink. If you like matcha, then you'll win because it was absolutely fantastic. I've had stuff that tastes like that has been bad, but this is really nice.
Yeah.
And the effects of drinking it was just great. It kept me going. It made me feel more focused, especially after a couple of days when, obviously, whatever's in the different supplements that are in the drink have kind of built up in your system as they kind of have to do that. And yeah, it definitely started to help. So
it has been cool. I have really enjoyed my time with it. But we don't want to belabor you with that point. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. We don't have any events. Is that correct? No events at the moment.
It's still in the wind at the moment. We need to sit down. We need to chat a couple of things. But yeah,
like a candle in the wind. We should make a song about that, Sean. That'd be great. Probably go over big. Anyways, so let's move on to the Game Pass headlines.
So first off the bat, things that have been out since last week, when we last got together and had a good chat and talked about everything that was all Xbox and Game Pass and all that jazz, and that thing that we come here every week to do. Firewatch dropped August 17th. I believe I streamed that, so there's possibly a video of that on our YouTube channel.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, I think so. Don't quote me on that. I can remember playing it for a lot. But I played that game all the way through. It's one that I actually finished. Great first-person like walking simulator. You take on the role of a husband that's just lost his wife. So he goes out into the sticks, moves out of the way from where everything was, as it was too painful to be there. And he starts the job as a fire watch for a national park. You strike up a bit of a friendship / back and forth humor with another park ranger that's there via radio, and then loads of events start to unfold, and it ends up that the park ends up on fire. So, but it's a great game, very easy to play, 4 to 6 hours. You could spend longer wandering around and doing stuff, but like if you just wanted to play it and get through the meat of the game, you can 4 to 6 hours, and it's easily done.
Nice. And you also
The
played
next
this
one?
next. Yeah, you played this next one too.
Yeah, I played it once. I kind of hinted on X that I would do a stream and play this with my eldest daughter. That didn't happen because we didn't get back. We took Logan and his friend, who he went to preschool with. We took them out for the day, and we didn't get back until like 7, 8 o'clock at night. So by that point, I was cooked.
Gotcha.
From entertaining 2 5-year-olds
Totally
all day.
understand.
So.
Yeah. And
Got them to bed, like literally. Well, we dropped his friend off, got home, got Logan sorted for bed, and then climbed into bed myself. So, but that was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you've played Dead by Daylight, which I have tried and didn't enjoy, this plays very much like that third-person survival horror style game where it's very PvP. So there's 4 victims. Each victim is played by somebody else or somebody that's in your party, and then there is 3 killers. The killers have abilities, the victims have abilities, and you've got to kind of hurry and scurry and hide, try not to make noise, pick up tools. You can pick up bone fragments to fight back if you please. You can hide in cupboards and freezers. And the aim is that you are to try and get yourself escape out of the basement into the main house area, and then you can find other things to help you escape that and escape the house, escape the killers. There is some items that require you to go around and collect things, so you actually forces you to walk around the map and do certain tasks. But yeah, the one game that I played it, I escaped out of the basement really well, and then I spent absolutely ages trying to figure out where I go from there. There isn't much of a, hey, go here and do this to get out. You kind of have to, like there would be in real life if you had been captured by some crazy family in Texas, you would struggle. You'd need to kind of figure out what you're doing, and I didn't. Unfortunately, I was the only victim that didn't survive. So.
That is a bummer. I'm really sorry for you. I do have a couple questions. One, do the maps change? Is it a procedurally generated map?
There is more.
And you've played it once, so I
map.
assume you have a great grasp of it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I speaking to Jay, there is more than one map to play at the moment.
Okay.
So I played Slaughterhouse. I played the Slaughterhouse Day, but I've been told there's like House Day and House Night and stuff like that. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they do both. Second, do you get to choose whether you're the guy with the chainsaw or you're the guy with the bone fragment?
Yeah, you can pick when you go into the games. You can either pick like a public match as a killer or a public match as a victim.
Okay. All right. And then they're just gonna like bring you together as however you decide to go. Okay, that makes sense. Yep. And 3, this is not a question, this is just a statement. If you're being chased with a guy with a chainsaw, don't hide in a freezer. Okay. I mean, this is just a public announcement. You're just making it easier for him. Like that's where they always put you anyways. Go hide somewhere where they at least makes it a little bit more difficult for him. So
just makes it easy. He doesn't have to then chop you into pieces and put you in the freezer. He can just do it in the freezer.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, shut that. There we go. Nobody open it. Put a padlock on it. I mean, come on. I don't even watch that many of these movies, and I know that. So don't do that. I'm just kidding. Anyways, other games that came out this week, 8/22, 2 games came out. Shocker Gamescom surprises, which are always fun. Humankind, it's a game that was delayed last year, I believe. I believe it's coming out it was either early this year or late last year. It got delayed. And now we know when it's coming out. Literally 2 days ago. Which is Tuesday, by the way. Humankind, I played this game. The only thing I'm going to tell you right now, because I've not played enough to like lay down the law and tell you what I really think about it. But it offers you 3 things. When you start the game, it says, I've never played a history turn-based game. I've played a historical turn-based game, which I played a lot of Civ, okay? So, or I've played Humankind, I know what I'm doing. So I chose the middle one because I've played a ton of Civilization, which is a historical turn-based game. But let me tell you something. I was utterly lost, and the tutorial seemed very light, and I had no idea what I was doing, and they were not helpfully telling me what was going on in that part. So if I were you, just from where I'm at, I plan to delete my save because I tried to go out of the game and come back in, but then they didn't even offer me a tutorial at all. I'm guessing it realized I'd played once, and it's like, well, he knows what he's doing now. So I plan to delete my save and go back in and choose the I'm dumb and have never done a historical turn-based game. So that's all I'll say about that. It seems like it's pretty deep. It seems like there's a lot that could be there, but I haven't made it far enough to really assess most of that. Second, we now have a console version of Age of Empires 4. Came out Tuesday with the other one. I have not got to play this, but I've played a ton of Age of Empires. Not on a console though, so I can't tell you how the controller works. This is for anybody who doesn't know, Age of Empires is a real-time strategy game, so it's not turn-based, and that does feel like those always feel more like they should have a mouse. Because you can easily select a group and move it and get around. They're going to have to really utilize that user interface for me to feel like I know what I'm doing, and I can do what I need to do. It's a better way to say that. It's for me to feel like I can do what I need to do quickly, so that my guys don't just get slaughtered by the computer. So those, yeah.
I can't do those kind of games with a controller. It just doesn't work. Not for love nor money.
Yeah, it's not easy for sure. I think the last one I played was it wasn't not really. I don't know if you'd call it a strategy game, but it was the 2 Point Campus. Where you're kind of moving stuff around that way. And yeah, I was able to get around in that one, but Age of Empires, unless they've slowed it down for console, Age of Empires is not a game where you can you just need to get there, because if your guy's getting slaughtered, you just need to be able to get troops and units to where they need to be quickly. So, it's a light week next week. Just one game coming out, and 2 if you paid a little bit of extra cash with Game Pass. So the one game coming out next week for everybody on Game Pass is Sea of Stars, and people are pretty excited about this game. There's a lot of people pretty excited about this game. So, that is a turn-based RPG, kind of has a spiritual successor of some game that I don't remember. How do you like that for answer? What?
I can't remember either. Is it Sea of Stars?
Started.
Was it The Messenger?
I can't remember. I'm sorry, Sean. Anyway, so the next game that's coming out, if you have bought early access, is a small game that not many people are talking about called Starfield. And let me tell you, friends, I paid the early access some money. I gave it to Xbox. I threw it at Xbox. I said, Phil, take my money because I want in right away. So I will be playing Thursday at 8 p.m. just in case you thought I didn't know. And I thought about moving the children and wife to California so that I could play at 5, but my wife said that was probably not a fiscally responsible decision. So I chose not to do it.
I mean, you could go and buy the whole cockpit.
That's right.
When that eventually launches,
Yeah.
and that's got to be a fiscally correct way to spend your money.
You better believe it. It's a bed, honey. It's a bed and a game. How is this not a good buy? Come on.
It's going to be the only furniture I've got when you leave me.
That is so true.
I'm equally excited and jealous that you're going to be playing it early. I'm excited to hear what you tell me about it, and I'm also jealous because my kids are still going to be at home, so there is no chance. Like, I've had zero chance to play much anyway, try and keep them entertained. So I wouldn't be able to jump on it early. So I'm excited and stupidly jealous.
Well, I appreciate you. And I'll be thinking of you. I will say I have a board meeting that morning, so I do have to be somewhat responsible. I would like to keep my job. The board is my boss, so I do have to go to bed at least at a decent time the night before, so I can wake up and not look like I just rolled out of bed.
Just use Magic Mind. You'll be fine. Just,
I
just
love
shot
it.
that and be like, woohoo, away we go.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the thing. Those are the games that are coming out next week. We already told you about 2 Gamescom announcements. We got a schwackload more, as Justin would say. So let's have a conversation about those. You want to start us off?
Yeah, so Aria Untold. I tried to dig into this a little bit. I've not been able to catch up on as much Gamescom stuff as I would have liked to. I think I caught up on the opening night, and then I've been busy since then. So this apparently is like been something that people have been anticipating coming out for an updated look. So people are really excited about this. They showed it off at the Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase in 2022. So the team over at Excite Games have been working hard on this, and they have dropped the first gameplay trailer during the opening night, which was very well received. People seem very excited. But Aria Untold, History Untold is an innovative new turn-based historical grand strategy game, which I think is why we've seen Age of Empires come out with it as well, so people can get a grasp of that style gameplay before Aria Untold comes out.
Well, Age of Empires is real time, so, and this is turn based, right?
Oh yeah,
sorry. Yeah. Humankind, the game that came out with Age of Empires, is turn based, just like this one.
Yeah. I mean, the trailer looks lovely. If you like those style of games, you are very much going to be very excited about this. It's coming to PC only, I believe. So it's going to be ideal for you guys that play with a mouse and keyboard.
Yep. Yeah, it's the way to play those games, I think. I mean, you can probably make it work on the old console, but man, mouse and keyboard is the way to go with these games. Haven't figured it out with a controller just yet. Stalker 2. Hey, we told y'all. We told you it could be a rumor, or we told you at that point it was a rumor, and let me tell you, it was a rumor, and it wasn't true either. So it's not coming out December 1st like the rumor wheel indicated last week. It is Stalker 2 is now slated to come out Q1 of 2024. I'm excited for it. I really, and I mean, this game is not a game that really like is bent towards me, but I really want to give it a go. There's a lot of it. There's a lot about it that seems like fun. There's also a lot about it that feels like I might crap my pants. But you know what? I'm gonna jump in on this game and just see how brown they get and go from there. So, and I'm excited for these developers too. They're a Ukraine-based development company, and I just hope they put out a banger of a game and people really support them. So
yeah, I'm super excited for this, and I will definitely be playing it launch day. One of the main reasons I want to back it is because they are a Ukraine developer, and they have been through an absolute turmoil and still turned out what looks like is going to be a fantastic game. So I really want to play it. But the gameplay, the history behind Chernobyl, and the disaster, the man-made disaster that was, to have this kind of game in that setting is something I'm really excited for.
Yeah, burrs.
Steam World Build. That's appeared. That is getting I've just clicked off the dock like a derp. It is coming out on the 1st of December. This was another, and I mean, this looks mental. I haven't watched any of this.
Yeah, you got to escape a dying planet by building a mining town to dig up vital long-lost technology. Have you played any of the SteamWorld games?
No.
Okay, I played SteamWorld Dig. That's the first one I ever jumped in on, and I thought it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. And they're doing such an amazing job of taking this one universe, and they keep iterating the genre. Like, I can't even really think of another development company that does this. They've made this universe, and I mean, you have games like Star Wars, which is a Star Wars universe, but it's not the same development company. A lot of times, a lot of those games get like shopped out to different development companies to make different genre games. But this is like one company that's just got this one universe that's really solid, and they keep iterating on genres, and they keep like knocking it out of the park. So I'm really excited. This is a day and date game on Game Pass, and I am really down to see what this looks like,
Okay,
and I'm
so
excited that it's on Game Pass.
quickly flicking through the trailer, and that looks so it's a drag and drop style builder.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fair enough. I like those kind of games on mobile devices. So I had the Simpsons one on the iPad, which like I
Sure.
played to the living death and loved it. But again, the console, console controls can feel a little bit lumpy for me. So
Yeah. A lot of talk about that in this episode. That is true. A lot of these games is how good are you going to use that user interface to lock in with the controller so that you feel like you can be where you need to be and do what you need to do in time. So, very true.
Dungeons, is it Dungeons 4?
Dungeons 4.
Yeah, November 9th. This is a again, I am flicking through videos very quickly now to kind of get a sense, because I have been a rubbish host this week in terms of looking at stuff.
So Dungeons 4 is, I lost my place too. Is announcing, it's by Announcing Evil. It will unleash its evil on November 9th. So it is a horror style game as well.
It looks like a bit of a dungeony style crawler with, again, mass controllable units. So
a lot of that,
again, to me, is going to be something that's going to looks like it's going to play better on a PC than it would a console.
But we really do
love
really consoles.
We
really do love consoles,
nice
people.
Games come to Game Pass, but they're all aimed at PC Game Pass at the moment.
Replaced. This was a game that we have seen a couple times. It got delayed in early 2023. It's a 2.5D sci-fi retro futuristic action platformer where you play as Reach, an artificial intelligence trapped in a human body against its own will. So there. Oh no, I'm sorry. And then this one most recently, I do not know if this game was a Gamescom announcement or not, but Pigeon Simulator 2024 coming out. This should not, Sean. This should not be called Pigeon Simulator. Okay, I'm just going to say that right now. I've looked at this game, and this game should be called the Untitled Pigeon Game. Okay, to go with the Untitled Goose Game series. It's not the same developer, people, so that's probably why they didn't do it. But it looks like have you played the Untitled Goose Game or anything like that?
Yes, I have. It's hilarious because you torment the hell out of the guy by dragging stuff out to the pond and things like that.
That's right. Yes, and that's exactly what you're doing here, except you're a pigeon, not a goose, and you're pooping on stuff and you're grabbing stuff and you're pecking at things, and so the first time I saw it, when I initially saw it, I was like, this should be called the Untitled Pigeon Game, not Pigeon Simulator. So whatever, but it is what it is. That's coming out. It'll come out to Game Pass 2024. It looks like it'll be one of those funny games to play. It's got some pretty I don't know, it probably has a name, but kind of blocky graphics. I don't know, probably a better name than that. Blocky art style might be the right to say, but whatever.
This is one that I think I'd be quite happy just to let Logan loose on it and see what he gets up to. So that could be quite fun.
Yeah, for sure would be fun. Those are our Gamescom announcements from this week. Lots of stuff, way more stuff than I thought would be coming to Game Pass, or announcements from Game Pass. This
Gamescom. And there's still more to come, isn't there? There's more stuff tomorrow from Gamescom.
Is there? Probably. I haven't kept up with the schedule. I'm not gonna lie. Kept up with most of the announcements, but not the schedule itself.
Yeah, you've done a lot better than I have done. So thank you very much for that, because I've been useless.
Oh, that's not true. All right. Well, what is leaving Game Pass in just like 7 days, Sean?
7 days. So Black Desert, that's disappearing off cloud and console. Commandos 3 HD remastered. Immortality, Nuclear Throne, Surgeon Simulator 2, and my favorite by far on that list is Tinykin.
That's the sad one.
Disappearing by August 31st. So as Nick said, you've got a week to get on with those games. If you listen to this via the podcast, you don't have a week, you have 4 days. So
Yep.
crack on. Tiny King can be done in those 4 days if you don't get any sleep.
That's true. I mean, actually, you could get sleep too. It's only probably like a 25-hour game or something like that. So maybe even less than that.
So, and as always, if you want to get these games to keep, you can do with a 20% discount because you are a Game Pass subscriber. Before they leave, after they leave, it goes back to full price.
Oh, show.
Games with Gold. I think this week is going to be the last week that we talk about them because they aren't going to change. But Blue Fire and Inertial Drift, which I actually tried and I will talk about later. So yeah.
Tell us about our sponsor, Sean.
Well, Game Pass News listeners, before we move into the X feed, which is the section where we talk about all the top stories, and we usually hide our feature story in there too. We wanted to take a quick moment to tell you about something that's been an absolute game changer for us, Magic Mind. If you're like me and enjoy a good morning routine of strong coffee to power through the day, but find by the afternoon you're crashing, I'm reaching for the biscuits, then you need to try this awesome product by Magic Mind, containing several nootropic supplements like Bacoa Monria, to help with memory and cognitive functions, as well as containing vitamin C, B, and D3 to help with your immune system. It really is the AAA of drinkable supplements. And just like Game Pass has transformed the way we play, Magic Mind has revamped the way we focus. After countless recording sessions of this podcast, after gameplay hours and late night research, especially for me who doesn't do most of it until the last minute, we found that Magic Mind gives us that mental boost we often need. And it's not just about the energy, but the clarity and concentration we experience that is truly next level. So if you're looking for a way to level up your productivity or just to get through that next boss battle, give Magic Mind a try. And you can do this by heading over to magicmind.com/Game Pass News, and you can use our code that we have been given, Game Pass 20. That's Game Pass 20 for an exclusive discount. Remember, it's not Magic Mind. It's not magic. It's Magic Mind. And Nick, take us into the X feed.
Top stories, big news dropping from xCloud or dropping from Microsoft via Ubisoft. They have sold the Activision Blizzard rights, which they don't really have yet, but hopefully will real soon, to Ubisoft.
Is this one of those, look, Ubisoft, if you run over to the CMA and tell them that we're doing this, look, tell them we're being really good friends, then like they might let us have it, and then you can have a share.
Something like that. So let me roll through the factoids that we know, and then we can have a conversation about what we think about it. So, Microsoft is selling the streaming rights to Ubisoft. So Microsoft, once they sell those, will have no ability or no right to say who gets a streaming license of now they're saying Activision Blizzard game. So I don't know if it includes King. I haven't heard anybody say ABK. Heard a lot of people talk about Activision Blizzard. So I'm not sure if King's not in this or not. I haven't heard or I haven't read definitively. So Microsoft will have no right to say who gets a license of the streaming version of these games. But Microsoft will have access to Activision games on xCloud via a license that they will get from Ubisoft. So they are buying the game. They are acquiring this company for $69-point-something billion. They are now selling the rights to Ubisoft, and then they're saying, oh, by the way, could I have some back, please? And so they are also then getting the right to license the game back to their own platform. The deal is structured so that all current deals, remember when Phil went out and brokered a deal with every single person that he could find, except for Sean. Sean asked, but he said no. Just kidding, made that up. Nvidia, Boosteroid, Ubisoft, and Enware, all streaming platforms, their deals will be honored as they were written by Xbox before this happened. And that is what we currently know about this Ubisoft streaming platform. Sean, is this a good thing? What do you think about this?
This is one of those that like makes me scratch my head. Like, is this just a business deal? is this like Microsoft kind of reaching out to Ubisoft and saying, look, we want you to help us. We want to help you. So let's like scratch your back. You can kind of scratch our back when we need it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it, because Ubisoft Plus isn't part of the Game Pass subscription like EA is. So EA Play is. I'm currently looking at the sports section of my Game Pass list, and it's all EA Play. So will this kind of draw Ubisoft into the Game Pass not Game Pass news, into the Game Pass subscription service? Is this going to like fall into it, say, hey, look, we've basically sold you these licenses that you can use, but what we'd like you to do is piggyback on the back of our subscription service and let people play certain titles that we've given you, or all the titles that we've given you license to do that. And then obviously it makes it more inviting for people who don't have Game Pass that might have Ubisoft Plus to jump in on that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a way, because isn't Ubisoft part of Sony? Sony subscription service.
Yeah, I believe Ubisoft Plus is on the Sony subscription service.
So
let me see if
is
that's
this
correct.
a way of Phil still honoring the ability for everybody to play games everywhere under the Xbox umbrella by allowing Ubisoft to have license to streaming to put them on that service for Sony users to use?
It could. So from how I understand the deal, though, Microsoft is making money by selling the license to Ubisoft. Past that, that's where Ubisoft makes the money. So whoever they license it to, they're making the money. So, and not only that, but Microsoft at that point does not have a say in who they license it to at that point. So they can license it to whoever they want, from how I understand the deal, and that's Microsoft has no say. Now, what I have heard is that Microsoft does have say upon which games they license to Ubisoft to stream. So if there's a game that Activision Blizzard does that they don't want to, for instance, like Diablo, I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm just saying if they wanted to, they could say, no, we're not going to sell you this license. That also means, though, it can't be on xCloud. Because remember, they are not putting those games on xCloud themselves. They are selling the license to Ubisoft, and the only way that they get the opportunity to use it is if they get the license back from Ubisoft, the right to use it. It is a very weird... it's a very like, I don't know, I'm going to sell you a pie, but I would like to buy a quarter of it back, Sean, before you eat it. You know, I mean, it's just kind of like, but I bought the pie from this guy for $69 billion. Who knows what I'm selling it from you from? And then I presume I'm going to buy part of the rights back. It's just, or part of the pie back. I don't know. It is very confusing. They're obviously doing this to try to get the UK's Competition Market Authority to say, thumbs up, let's go. You got it. You did it. The streaming isn't an issue anymore. You really don't have much control over it. Let's push this through.
Yeah, and that is the main and only like reason for the acquisition. From the acquisition point of view, that they're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's an agenda behind it in terms of like, what have they been working? What's the deal with Ubisoft? What's the underlying? What's the small print in the deal? This is all stuff that we don't know unless we had somebody from Xbox or Ubisoft sat with us that we could kind of say like, so why is this happening? What does this mean? Like, which kind of titles do you think you wouldn't, and which kind of titles do you think you would allow to go back and forth? And it's just like, yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a lot more to it than I can get my head around.
Yeah, and so in some ways, I think this is advertising for them. I mean, you know, if somebody streams an Activision game on one of these other services and they say, dang, that was a really good game, I'd really like to play that natively on a console or whatever, or on my PC, then what do they got to do? They got to go to Xbox and sign up, because if you want to play it, if you want to play it any other way than streaming, Xbox still holds those rights. So at that point, they get people to come back to them. Very likely you're gonna have, or I don't want to say very likely, but there's a good likelihood you're gonna have some people that try a game and they say, "Man, I don't have the internet for that or whatever." Then once that happens, what are they gonna do if they want to play it? They're gonna sign up for a Game Pass. So I
Yep.
think it's really interesting. I think I think you're right. There's a lot to it. I also would like to point out that the CMA did not say, "Oh, great and mighty, wonderful Xbox, you are now approved. We'll do whatever you want." No, they said, "Well, that looks interesting. We'll look at it, and then we may have to open up a brand new investigation to figure it out." And if that's what they do, well, we know how long an investigation with the CMA can take. So October might be blowing out of the water for early 2024 at that point. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it backfired. It may very well have helped them move it through. But if the CMA wants to cycle through that whole process again, then that could take some more time. And it just keeps it going, Sean.
And Tyler has got a pretty good question actually in the chat there, which we will answer now rather than taking it through to the party chat. And that is, once again, sorry. Does UbiCloud tech stack up to the xCloud technology? So I've never used the Ubisoft stuff.
I thought you were going to be there because I was like, crap, I haven't used it. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea.
I've never used it, but this is like a question that would suit having a PlayStation down with us. So, where's Hambo and Johnny when you need him? I've never used it, but I've never heard anybody really complain about it. I know people play the Ubisoft games,
That's
like
true.
Rayman on the Sony quite well. I mean, I don't have many problems with xCloud, and I've played that I do all my xCloud stuff at my place of work on my break times, using mobile internet. And I played Wreckfest like that. I played As Dusk Falls like that, and I had no problems. So I don't see many people complaining about it, but it's going to be interesting to see with more games available to them and probably more people accessing it. Are their servers going to stack up? I know they're not, but I can only assume that with the licensing rights come the availability that can we use some of your server stuff? Can we use some of the power that you have to do that? So
Yeah, I was trying to see who they went through. So they started Uplay Plus in 2019. Trying to see if they went through. It's launching its own streaming service called. So maybe they hold their own servers. A lot of these companies don't do that. So I was trying to figure out if I could find out who they were using, because that would be if they were using. Oh, I can't think of what it's called. But if they were using Microsoft service, then that would be kind of a partnership made, right?
yeah,
But now remember, this really isn't about like, I mean, are they going to put it on their service? I'm sure they are. Why wouldn't they? They'll sell themselves their own license, of course. But really, it's about not only that, but it's about them licensing it to whomever else they wish to license it to, which is an interesting question. They sold it to a company who has a streaming service. I didn't think about this before. Wouldn't the competition be best if it was sold to a company who didn't have their own streaming service? Because at that point, you have no skin in the game to hold the license. So you see what I'm saying? Like if you have a streaming service and you buy the license from Microsoft, you're like, well, I could just put this on my service and be just fine, and then kind of hold these right here. But if you don't have a streaming service, then it doesn't behoove you to hold licenses that you're not going to stream. It behooves you to license them to as many people as possible. And maybe it still does, and I don't understand the full business behind it, but I don't know.
Yeah, the whole streaming service and cloud service kind of thing to me is a whole new jungle to get through. Like I didn't only just get to the physical games and a company, developing, publishing a game on its console for people to buy is a pretty straightforward. It's either black or white. It's either it goes on that console or it doesn't go on that console. So when you start getting into the realm of streaming, is like, where is that data held? Who has the right to that data? Like, who can access that data at any time? and will that data always be there? So yeah, it's a minefield to try and fully understand.
So they don't have Uplay anymore. I'm just trying to keep up. I'm reading some articles here. So Ubisoft Plus and Uplay combined in 2020 to create Ubisoft. No, I'm sorry. Ubisoft Plus updates follow news of the publisher overhauling its Uplay and Ubisoft Club services. It's combining those into a hub called Ubisoft Connect.
Yeah, so I used to have both.
Okay.
And then like lost access to both, and then Ubisoft Connect stopped working on Xbox. So I'm assuming it's when it pulled away from the Xbox service.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's an interesting ditty. I'm really interested to see if this. I think this will help them get the acquisition through, but I think everybody's like timeline of it's going to happen right away. Another thing I wanted to ask you, Sean, we've given the CMA a lot of crap here in the last year or so. Some of it rightfully so, but I am interested. Do you think? Because nobody else would have stopped this deal. This deal was through if it wasn't for CMA. So, do you think this ended up being a good thing for gamers?
Yeah, I think legitimately they did it for the right reasons. I mean, at the end, were we going to see too much damage if they hadn't stopped it? Probably not. It'd have probably gone through, and it would have been okay. And these things will have come out later on in the wash. But because the CMA put a stop to it, well, not a stop, but a hold on it and froze it where it was, lifted the skirt up and had a look under, kicked the tires a little, and spent some time looking into this. The deal that's come out for it, the deal that's coming out now is far better for us as gamers than it was originally. You've got the likes of Nintendo being involved in that. You've got these smaller streaming services like Nvidia, Boosteroid, Ubisoft and Mware. You've got all these that are now going to benefit from it. Ubisoft are now benefiting from it. So the accessibility of these games everywhere is massive. It's also allowed hardware to come out, which then you've got the availability of playing xCloud games via a handheld made by what is it? The Asus ROG. What's the other handheld name? I can't remember them all.
I don't know. Nvidia's one too that they
Nvidia,
did.
That one, and the Steam Deck as well.
Yep.
So you've got 3 places. We knew about the Steam Deck being able to do it, but the other 2 were new pieces of hardware that have done well off the back of this deal being there, that they're now going to do. They could make sales on this, so it's benefiting hardware companies, software companies, and us as gamers a hell of a lot better. So yeah, as much as we have shit on them for the last 12 months, really about looking into this and slowing it down, they have definitely done a better job than other organizations in making sure that this is the best deal that can happen.
Yeah. So the only thing I would might contend with is that they did it for the right reasons. I feel like maybe this is my grandpa's slogan of, well, they fell in shit and they came out smelling like roses. I think that's probably that might be the more likely scenario here, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. You're right. It definitely helps gamers. I also would contend for not y'all, there are a handful of people, one specifically, Tom Warren, who obviously is well known for his following of this, that was giving shit to FAA for being like, well, what did you do? Look what the UK did. And it was like, well, wait, the FAA, you can give crap to our American court system that kind of like put a kibosh to it. But also, ironically, everybody was praising the court system for putting a kibosh to the FAA thing. So if you do that, I don't know. You're really like, I'm not gonna applaud you for that, because I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think there was many, if any, people on X, or at that time Twitter, who were saying, yeah, way to go, those darn court system for blocking that FAA. I can't believe that happened. No, most people were like, yeah, that was the right thing to do. So, But the FAA did try to block it, and then the court system blocked them. So whatever. But it has been a ride, and it's a ride that will keep going. And when the ride ends, I swear I will be so happy, so happy. But
now, is that happy because
yeah.
we'll have cool games to play, or happy because we don't need to talk about it anymore?
I'm gonna be happy because I don't need to talk about it. And I've said this before. I've looked at those games. I'm happy for y'all that are happy. There's not a ton of Activision Blizzard games that I'm like jumping up and down for. Although I did watch the Modern Warfare trailer at Gamescom, and I'm not gonna lie, that looked pretty cool. Like I was like, if that's just like the single player campaign deal that I can do, yeah, that looks cool. I'm in. I'll probably dumb down the difficulty for sad little old me and just have some fun. And so I could do that.
When Modern Warfare 2 comes and you can go through the mission called Shoot House, that is by far the greatest campaign mission ever. Just because you've got to go through, clear a house, get rid of all the basically get rid of all the enemies, but there is like hostages in there and stuff like that, and the lights go out at one point, and you've got to use night vision, and you've got to use stealth. It is one of the most immersive style first person like campaign sections I've ever done. So
that's cool. Yeah, and that's kind of what you had here too, where you were like in the video he was rappelling, and he'd like get to another level, and he'd have to kind of like move around and clear out whatever he saw, and then it'd get dark, and he'd flip on the things, and then flip them off when he got to the bottom. So, yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yep.
So that is the Ubisoft streaming license debacle at the moment. We'll let you know as things develop. But on to something that is much more exciting. Starfield 1! That's right. That's right. Acquisition Watch is gone, people. And for a very short time, because we know when Starfield's coming. Yeah. Starfield Watch is here for like 2 more weeks, probably. For 1 more week. I don't know, whatever. First off, the most important thing, you can show off your console and protect it with console condoms. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. $50.
That name was patented, by the way, by Nick.
That's right, yeah. $50 a wrap, and you don't have to have a Starfield condom. You can have a camo Arctic or some other camo condom, and then you probably won't be able to find your console, but that's okay. At least it will be protected, and it will look cool. So they're $50. It's basically just a flat sheet of bendable, like hinged plastic that you wrap around. The X only, by the way. This is the only thing that has a condom at the moment. And there you go. I don't have anything else to say other than that. You excited about this? You want a $50 condom?
No. Well, it looks great, and if you're gonna really want to show it off, then show it off. But my console's hidden out of the way anyway, so I don't see it. So it's pointless me, and like all the wiring around the TVs, everything's routed. So for it to remain hidden. So yeah, I wouldn't be paying the £50 for that, but I can see why people would. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it looks really cool. I am with you. Even if I had an X, it would be down here in the basement. Right now, actually, my S is in a locked room because there are presents in that room. That's where we keep the presents. And so it's in a locked room in there because it's just like in the middle of, like, if I'm playing upstairs or I'm playing downstairs, it's kind of right in the right spot so that controllers work no matter where I'm at. So yeah, I'm not buying it just because nobody's ever seen it. But I think it's cool for those of you who show off your consoles. That's awesome. Start screen debacle. Listen, I'm not going to talk long about this, but I just think it's funny how social media can just like turn ablaze on the silliest of things. Some guy looked at the start screen of Starfield and said it looked like shit. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. It does. Okay? It looks pretty dumb. But does that mean the game sucks?
See,
no,
I disagree.
Really?
And I disagree for the fact that it's just basic. It's the start screen. It's the game does all the shit before the start screen and all the it's you get the developer's logo, you get the publisher's logo, you get this, you get that. Which, to be frank, I know they have to put them in there because they want to show off who made the game and who published the game. But I don't care. I don't care about the start screen. Most of the games that I ever play, the start screen is something that I skip so fast, it's unreal. So you make it basic and as simple as possible with they have it. They have a little pop-up that tells you, what great news there is. If there's more DLC content, that's great. You leave that there. Don't make me have to press through the screens like you do with Modern Warfare when you launch that. You've got to press through 4 fucking screens before you can play the game. It pisses me off. This is simple. It pops up. Yep. Okay. Cool. Thanks for that information. I want to continue my game. Let's go.
So first off, let me finish. I don't think it has any bearings on what the game is. Okay, but what I think it is like there's this huge screen and there's this little box that's like 1/20th of the screen that has like play and whatever else is in those like 4 or 5 things, and they're like in a gray background with a white. I don't know. I do think that looks a little cheesy. There's 2 things here though that can redeem it in a heartbeat. One, we're looking at a picture, and I can tell you one thing. I'm guessing that Starfield has some pretty awesome music. So if I get in there and I have a little gray box and it looks whatever and the music is amazing, then hey, there are a lot of games that I have played where the start screen may not look the best, but it has that tune that plays like on critical moments of Smash Brothers. I'm not even a Smash fan, but when you turn on Smash and you hear that crescendo of music in the start screen, I don't even remember what the start screen looks like, but just having that music is amazing. So we're looking at a picture, and for us who aren't cool and didn't get a code ahead of time, we're just looking at a picture that's on Twitter, and we're saying we're kind of just reviewing that. So whatever, that could save it. And then also, we don't really know what this game is going to look like when it launches. We don't know that that's what the start screen's going to be. I mean, it's pretty easy to add. Well, I'm not a developer, but I would assume it's pretty easy to add some code to a start screen and change what it looks like. Like, we don't know that there's not going to be a day 1 patch and it's going to look different. We have no idea what they were planning to do with that. So
which is fair enough, but I still say that if that isn't a moving image and find there's music playing, that I'm more than happy with that being to me, not the start screen, but a menu screen.
Mm-hmm.
The start screen to me is like what happens after you press load game, and does it pan down to the top of the planet, and you are wherever you last parked your spaceship, and it's kind of just that to me is the transition from going continue to the game starting. That's important to me. So
yeah, I can see. I can agree with that too. I will say, when I started to think of my favorite start screens, Mario 64. That's a start screen that will always be in my head because you can pull the nose and the chin and you can make them look all funky. You can pull the Mario face. Absolutely love that start screen. So I think that's fun.
Yeah, the Starfield preloads are here, and they are big. They are big, but the game is huge, and they're not all there as well, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm. I think you nailed that, though, Sean. You said if it's not all there, then it's not playable, and I think that's 100% it. There's they can't put it all there because there are stupid hacker people that'll figure out how to get in there and play it if it's all on your console. So if they leave that 10 gigs out that are crucial for everything to run, then they're like, all right, cool. Can't do anything with that.
Yeah, and that to me is the only reason why they've done it. Is you'll have the day of release. So for you, because you purchased it, the day of release, you will get. Oh look, there's an update to do on this game, which will probably be a little bit bigger than what we think is missing. So right now for me, I think there's 30 gigabytes missing. So
yeah. And I will say it's a big download, but it's no bigger than I assumed it would be. I mean, I pretty much assumed it would be 100 gigs. I didn't think this would be a 12 gig game. That would be Nintendo doing it.
Call of Duty Warzone, that's 180 gig. Forza Horizon, is 139 gig.
Yeah.
So it's not much bigger.
Yeah, no, I'm not sitting here like, oh my gosh, it blows my mind. Like, I mean, to be honest, like, you got to get to like right now between Flight Sim and I was able to keep Flight Sim on. I tweeted that it was going to go goodbye, but I was able to save it. Between Flight Sim and this, that takes up pretty much half of my hard drive. So, you got to get to like 200 now.
I have 650 gigabytes spare on mine, and I've got Starfield pre-downloaded. I've got Forza Motorsport pre-downloaded, and I've still got 650 gigabytes spare.
Well, that's what you get when you got an awesome Max with your 1 terabyte.
Yeah, but no, I'm not buying I've got on there is Broforce Forever, Quake 2, Inertial Drift, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Short Hike. So I haven't got many other games downloaded.
I was trying to see something.
Open your eyes.
I appreciate you. I really do. The biggest console game install sizes. So it looks like Call of Duty. You said there was one that was 180?
Yeah, I'm sure it was Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah, so Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War is 140. That's what Wikipedia says, and they can't be wrong, so don't even try. And I'm trying to get consoles because I'm sure there's PC games out there that are just like gigantic. But anyway, so yeah, I don't think this is that much bigger, and these might just be like the base size of a game. You know what I mean? Before like extra installs and DLCs and all that stuff. So
yeah, definitely. Let's see if I've got Cyberpunk. Because that'd be a good one to compare it to.
Quantum Break. I'm sorry, I thought these were in order, but I don't know why they wouldn't be, but I can tell you that they're now not. Quantum Break is 100. Oh, Ark Survival Evolved is 400 gigs.
What? No.
What it says. What it says. It says, here are some of the biggest console game install sizes. Ark Survival Evolved is 400 freaking gigs. Basically my entire hard drive. And it would take 1,000 years.
I have that up in front of me on the Game Pass store, and that's 155. So that's not correct.
Are you telling me the internet just lied to me? That's impossible.
I'm telling you. Is that Wikipedia that lied to you, though?
Actually, I can't tell. It's just, one of those Microsoft Bing things that just kind of brings it up right at the beginning when you search for it. But it's, don't. You broke my heart, Sean. I can't believe the internet would lie to me. Anyways, well, there you go. We've been here long enough. So that is the Starfield news we got for this week. I can only imagine there's going to be more. There's now a bed, by the way, at Gamescom that you can I don't know if you can sit in it. I'm not sure. It'd be weird because like everybody be laying in this bed that's also a chair. This Temper UK Starfield. It's currently not for sale, but once it is, it's going to cost you your life to get, or if it ever is. Man, Starfield news just coming out like crazy. Sean, I'm sorry. One more thing I got to say about Starfield. And I said this, I tweeted about this. I really feel like this is Xbox's new version of free to play. Like, you look at the game and it's free to play, right? But it's not free to play like we think about free to play games right now with like Epic and Fortnite, and we're gonna do a battle pass and then a battle pass and then another season pass and whatever. But it's free to play. It's an awesome game, but yet they have like early access charges. They have controllers and headsets, and if you don't want any of it, just like if you don't want the battle pass for Fortnite, then it's free to play. They're not getting their $70 out of it. You can wait until September 6th. You don't have to buy any of this crap. No condoms or controllers or anything, and you don't pay anything. But most people, kudos to you, Sean, but most people, I bet, or enough people, are buying something that this game is like Xbox's new version of free to play. They're not making $70 a pop off of every time you buy it, or every person, but they don't need to. If they get somebody to pick up a controller, they're making a crud ton of money.
It's not the first time they've done it, and I won't see it being the last. I have a distinct feeling that Forza Motorsport is going to go down the same way.
Yeah. What a great thing to do. I mean, if I had a little bit more, so impulsive, I didn't have to spend $100 on this game. I could have spent nothing other than Game Pass on it. But instead, I've now spent $100 plus my Game Pass subscription because I bought the early access and the controller. Yeah. And I'll say this again: if Todd Howard would have put "Buy the Watch" on that Starfield Direct, hell, I'd be $400 deep at this point. Too bad he didn't, because I'd have been like, I'm in.
Yeah, so. I'm in. I'm on Becca. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Anyways, now I'm done. I promise. The 360 store is closing down, but Phil would love to find a solution to the problem. Those are two different articles. They came at two different times. We got news that 360 store is closing down, and then it was this actually just a couple days ago. Who was Mr. Phil talking to now? I don't know.
Eurogamer.
Eurogamer. There you go. Basically, it's all about preservation. He says, I will say for us that preservation that's linked to only one piece of hardware is a challenge because there can be hardware love as well. People who love and want this device to do this forever. But mechanical things will break over time. But that's why we gave people with this decision a year. Let's say, hey, if you want to buy things in the 360 store, we're going to give you a year's head start, and you can go get those things that you want. And just to know that the list of 220 games is something that we see, and we would love to find a solution for. There is 220 games that are not backwards compatible, and there's not an easy way to currently play those games on the 360 store. So,
yeah. If you've purchased like Skate 3, I think was backwards compatible, but when you played it, all the interface that you got, so like the save screen and when you had logged in, was all the Xbox 360 style menus. So I'm assuming that interface as well is really hard to run with lots of things all the time. So I can understand why they're letting this go. We've seen it die off with games with gold that have died away. So it was only a matter of time where they came away from the games with gold, where they did initiate this sort of shutdown process. It's come a little bit earlier than I kind of expected because, like Nintendo only just recently shut down their DS store. And that's been going for a long time. So yeah, it's just interesting to see. I mean, I hope that the 360 stuff that I've purchased, because I'm sorry, I've got Assassin's Creed 3 that was from the Xbox 360, Army of Two, Alan Wake. I've got a couple of 360 games, all the Banjo-Kazooie stuff that I've purchased and got in front of me through Rare Replays, all there. So I'm still hoping that that's going to be available to play, but I'll re-download.
Yeah, I think I said this on Discord as well. Like, these things happen. This isn't like shocking. We kind of assumed it. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is earlier than what we would have thought. I'm not really sure. My thoughts on that. I will say though, the second email is an executive in a company that's saying, if there's somebody out there that has a solution to this problem, I will listen to you and I will help you make this happen. So, and I don't think what I mean by that is not that Phil's gonna say, oh, never mind, we're gonna keep 360 open. But if there's a company out there that can figure out a way to make these compatible with another device, another hardware, another service, something like that, I think Phil is sending out a bat signal and saying, I'm open. You come to me and you give me your solution, and if I think it works, then yeah, I'd love to see these 220 games stay alive. So, and that is our top stories, folks. Our news bulletins. We have two of them. Microsoft Legends getting a major update here soon. And Phil, we talked about this, so we're not going to go in depth. That's why it's just a news bulletin. But Phil says he and Xbox are not dropping S support anytime soon. They are 100% behind it. Yes, there may be some differences. Right. Yes, there may be some differences in the graphics and all that stuff, but they are trying to keep game, or their plan is to keep game mechanic parity between the two, and gameplay parity might be a better way to say that, between the two SKUs. So we will see if they can do that. And so, Sean, my vote is that we go straight to the dashboard at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, just to let people know that our feature story was going to be a top 10 races on Game Pass this week, but it has been a crazy week with all the Gamescom stuff that's dropped and all the Ubisoft stuff that we talked about. This week we will skip the feature story and move straight into the dashboard. But if you do have a game that you would like to see on the top 10 list of races from Game Pass, do get in touch with us on Discord, send us an email, gamepassnewscast@gmail.com, and stick it in there, and we will definitely add it to our decision-making process for the top 10 list.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. To the dashboard. Go first, Sean. What do you got for us?
So I have been playing, obviously, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I talked about earlier on. I played the one round of it. I quite enjoyed it as much as I didn't know what I was doing. I have enjoyed it. I'd like to try and play that with Jaya because she kind of has an idea of what she's doing, or maybe watch some videos and learn some tips. But it played really well. There are lots of people who got early access to it were complaining about things being buggy and a bit like laggy in places, but I did not get any of that in what I played. It ran very smooth. The graphics were nice. I didn't get stuck anywhere. So definitely want to try that again. The other game I have been playing, and I said I would play it, is the games with gold that you can currently get, which is Inertial Drift. The control system for that is very unique, which when you read it out the first time when you did that one on your own, the left analog stick does extremely fine steering control. Like normally when you're playing a racing game, the left analog stick does all the steering. So you can go hard right, hard left, and it does a lot of the steering. This one you can go hard right, and it basically it just barely moves. It kind of leans the car more than moves the car from left to right. All your steering is done with the right analog stick, or you're drifting. So as you're coming up to a corner, you can lean into the corner. Say it's going to be like you're going to turn right. You can lean into the corner with the left analog stick, but then you push the right analog stick to the left, and the back end of the car starts to slide out. The further you push the analog stick across, the further the angle of drift, which obviously starts to take some speed off, and that is like the best way to take the speed off for corners and things like that. You change the angle of drift. It's a really fast-paced game. The music is great for it. The graphics are fantastic. It's quite futuristic in its terms. There's a really good story mode to it, which I was working my way through. You do time trials, and then you race against digital ghosts, and then you actually have to race against another vehicle. There's no collision in it, so you can't crash into that other vehicle, but you can hit the sides, and that slows you down quite a lot. It's a fun game. It's interesting.
Nice. I have 4 games I'm playing. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them because I've talked about many of them before. So Chicory, still playing that with my daughter. She's really liking it. Pikmin 4, still playing that with Noah. Like I said in the last episode, we are finding our way. I was really bummed about the Pebble, or we both were really bummed about the Pebble Pitcher, but now he really likes it. Sean, I'm not going to lie, this game has become more of a escort the Pikmin than a Pikmin game, quite frankly. I walk through the map, and it's basically a first-person shooter for Noah, and he takes out all the baddies. And then once the baddies are all gone, and the coast is clear, then I walk through the map and collect all the stuff. That's pretty much how it's being played. We are almost 3 worlds down, and we have lost 6 Pikmin.
So, wow.
Because literally, they're not doing... Like, I come in, if it's a big enemy, I come in, like, when close to the end. And I'll run in with the dog and with all my Pikmin and, like, finish them off. But... for the most part, Noah just doing his thing over there, just like first-person shooter, shooting it. It's funny.
I'd like to get your input on that if you played through it on first player. I think I lost in total 300 and odd Pikmin. So Yeah,
We're
it
gonna
makes a
try
huge
to.
difference having that second player.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna try to keep it under 10. But what got us mostly, what lost 4 of the 6 were the plants. You're like walking and then they just kind of like pop up out of the ground and all your Pikmin go splattering every way. And then he just kind of licks up a couple, and so that's what's taken out 4 of the 6 currently. So now that the only flub there, and I've talked about this already, but I did send about like 15 over the edge at the very beginning, learning the controls. So, but we're not counting those 15 because we rerun time. Humankind, I'm not going to really mention much because I haven't played enough, and I talked about it already a bit up in the top of the podcast. And that's really, man, that's what I've been playing. We're kind of balancing. I'm balancing these. Oh no, I forgot the Big Con. My bad. The Big Con. That's the new game that I started, and I'm not gonna say this game is amazing or like you should really go out and play it because it's a great Game Pass game. But it is a fun game. It's a really good cloud game. So you jump on, you're this kid, and your mom's about to lose this business, and you need so much money. You find this sketchy dude. She thinks you're going to band camp, but you actually go on this tour to try to con people out of all this cash. And you can do stuff like pickpockets and change breaking and all that stuff, which, to be honest, I don't know. I'm not really up on this stuff. I didn't even know what that was until they taught me how to do it. So if you're worried about your kids, learning bad behaviors, this might not be the one, because you legit learn cons in this one. Like, I had no idea what they were even talking about until they taught it to me. So yeah, but it's been a fun game, is what I would say. Not amazing, but fun. And that is all I've been playing. And we do not have party chat, I believe, right? Is that correct?
No, the only question we got was from Tyler, and that was during the Ubisoft stuff. So
SATK, thank you very much, sir.
To a very timely end to the podcast, which is great because I drank far too much water before we started and do need to go and visit the little boy's room.
There you go.
So thank you very much for everyone that listened to this week's podcast. If you want to get in touch with us via any social media website, you can do. That's Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Everything is at Game Pass News. If you want to send us an email, let us know your thoughts on the Ubisoft stuff, or if you want to drop a racing game that you think should be in our top 10, you can do that by getting in touch with us. GamePassNewscast@gmail.com. That's GamePassNewscast@gmail.com. If you listen via our podcasting application, please leave us some stars, give us some feedback. We love that. If you want to get access to the Discord, you can do it by subscribing to our Twitch channel, and we will get you the access you require. Any of the merchandise, I think Mo Spankin said he wanted to get hold of one of the hoodies. You can do. If you go to redbubble.com and look for our star Game Pass News, you'll find us in there. Thanks very much for Mo Spankins and Tyler, which is Acid TKO3, and Ed yourself for jumping in on the live chat. And until next time, guys, we shall see you later.
See you later, guys.